Hello HEMA friends, today I want to show something new and quite interesting in my opinion. This video will show you a Kendoka which is fighting with my friend and fellow instructor Fabio Saraglio. It is extremely important to say that with this video I don't want to say that one of these two disciplines is better than the other. I want just to show you a very good fight between two persons, two different styles, two different cultures, and two different ways of training in the use of this beautiful weapon, which is the sword. Before we start to look at the video itself, there are two things which are worth to be mentioned. The first one is about the weapon simulators, because of course one is Shinai, which is a standard simulator for Kendo practice. The second one, which is the Fabio one of course, is an Iron Worcester. The two weapons have different weight, different balance, are used in two different ways because Fabio is using a side sword. So there are some things which are completely different about the weapons. The second thing is about the protections. The two opponents wear different protection because of course they use different protection in their own training. Fabio is using regular gambesson and mask and whatever. The Kendo guy is using a bogu, but instead of the standard mask he is using a HEMA mask because of course trusts are a main problem, so they lend him a HEMA mask. Okay guys, let's give a look to this beautiful fight. Okay, this first action is very interesting because we see the way in which the Kendoka is trying to control the opponent weapon. He is doing a motion which is like a cavazione, and then he's beating toward the ground the opponent weapon. And so he is creating the time in which he can strike his own action. Now Fabio is quite fast, so he's retreating and trying very fast to recover his own weapon, and so there is no hit. The second action is a very fast exchange of parry and riposte. Now Fabio starts with a feint and then he strikes his manduito toward the opponent's head, but the Kendoka is very fast. He parry the action and then he do a riposte, which is very interesting, with the weapon in one hand, but again Fabio is quite fast. He recovered his weapon and he parried the opponent attack. Okay, we start the third action with a bit of tracking, and we see that Fabio is setting aside the opponent weapon toward the right with a bind to control the weapon. Probably the idea is to enter the measure and grab the opponent's hands if the opponent stayed on the place, or the weapon if the opponent change the position of the weapon in the middle of the action, which he do, and the Kendoka free the weapon, but at the same time he's very good at keeping his own measure in a very measured way, and so he free his weapon. Fabio tried to grab the weapon and he changed of course his plan, but the weapon is too far away, and he ends up grabbing his own weapon, maybe to do some kind of action in half sword or try to defend himself. But the Kendoka is fast. He strike toward the door, and well, Fabio tried to do a very fast cut to reach the opponent, but he is too far away. It's a very good action for the Kendo guy. Okay, the fourth action is probably my favorite one. Both the fighters are playing with measure, and then at some point the Kendo guy approached a bit too much Fabio. Fabio decided to strike his attack in this moment. He strike a thrust with the hand in quarter position toward the opponent's chest, but with his hand very upward. The opponent tried to parry this action, but he's too late, and it is on the wrong line because Fabio is moving also toward his own right with an inquartata. And that's it, the parry is avoided, and then the Kendo guy stops. Fabio flips around and its own action with a mandrito toward the head. Very cool. The fifth action is quite long. It starts with the Kendoka beating the Fabio's sword, and Fabio used his strength, the strength of the beat, to do a very fast sottano toward the opponent's hands, which missed because the Kendoka moved away his hands. Then the Kendoka tried to pursue his opponent with the tip of the sword online toward the opponent's belly, but Fabio moves away and strikes a series of mandrito cuts to cover the line of the opponent's weapon. After the last cut, Fabio strikes a thrust with the hand in seconda doing a lunge. The Kendo guy parried it, and then he answered with a strike toward the opponent's chest. Now Fabio avoided this attack, and in the meantime strike his own reverso, which hit the opponent on the chest. Then Fabio started to close the measure while he parried the opponent riposte with the knuckle protection of his handle, and he go for a sword grab. He grabbed the opponent's sword and ends the opponent with a thrust to the head. The next action sees Fabio taking the initiative again. He tried to do a beat and cut action, so he tried to beat the opponent's shinai with the falso, but the shinai is no more there. But he keep going with his reverso tondo, and he strike toward the opponent's arm. But the opponent keep the measure, and so Fabio decided to strike another attack, a mandrito one, with a lunge, which hit the opponent on the head. In the next action we see, after a bit of tracking, that the Kendoka strike a one-handed thrust toward the opponent's belly, and Fabio tried to avoid the thrust by jumping away with the legs and chest and striking a mandrito in the meantime, but the jump is not enough, so he being hit by the thrust, and at the same time he hit the opponent on the head. So there is the first double of all the exchanges. Now the next action is a feint and attack basically. Fabio tried to strike a feint to the inside line of the opponent, and with a cavazione a thrust toward the outside line. The basic idea is probably trying to strike this thrust with an inquartata motion and pairing the opponent man with the handle. But we see that the man starts doing the feint, so Fabio is not fast enough to move the hand upwards, and so the man hits him on the head. The next action starts with Fabio that tries to do a thrust with a step and lunge motion. The thrust almost hit the opponent, but the Kendoka parry in a very good way the thrust. Fabio yelled against this parry. He can strike Mandorito or Reverso, but he decided to keep the measure and then he go backward. The last action sees the Kendoka taking the initiative. He strike his attack toward the Fabio's chest. Fabio parry it with an action on tempo. Fabio strikes a tondo toward the opponent arms, and he parry in the meantime the opponent weapon. So he hit him on the opponent arm, and then he do another cut, a Mandorito one toward the hands, and he retreat undercover. Okay, so that's the end of the fight, the end of the video. Sadly, we had not all the exchanges because not every exchange was filmed. So both Fabio and the Kendoka scored other actions, very cool action, but we had not the chance to see it, sadly. But of course, we have seen enough. We can say that the Kendoka is very focused. He managed the measure in a very good way. It is interesting to see his form of moving, which is used a good number of times to make fruit of it against a different opponent, which is a bit more free to move in the space. Fabio, of course, is using all his options to move around the opponent, which is a very good idea. He strikes attack not in the line, which is a very good approach to fight Kendoka guy. So I have liked also the complex action of both the fighters. The Kendoka was very good at pairing. At the first, when I have watched the first time this video, I was expecting to see far more doubles, because I was a bit biased from the Kendo competition that sometimes you see. But he was very, very focused on defending himself, and I have really liked his approach. Fabio was sometimes a bit more focused on taking initiative, and he have done it in a very good way most of the times. I have liked almost every one of his action, even the one that gone not as he was expecting in the first place. For example, the beat and attack action with the falso beat, which was very interesting because he have recovered it in the meantime with the Mandorito, and I have liked this kind of thing a lot. Okay guys, so I hope you will like the video. I personally have enjoyed it a lot, simply because it is not very easy to find people which want to put themselves into a challenge like this, to learn from the opponent. The people which is enough open-minded to do this kind of exchanges between different martial arts, different styles, and even different cultures, basically. So I hope to see this happen other times in the future, because this is the kind of martial arts that I want to see. So basically learning from each other and growing together. So guys, again, I hope you will like this video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.